All right, there we go. Okay, so um, I guess today's will be a little bit different than most classes. We're just gonna do some like introduction about like what we've been working on with this curriculum and kind of just some overview stuff. There's not gonna be really any like technical stuff like that. And it's gonna be pretty slide heavy today. Well, it's gonna be all slides, but usually it won't be slides. So I guess let's get started. I will share my screen. Okay. Share. Everyone can see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's get started. So introductions, like I was saying before, we're going to use these videos for anyone in the future watching. So I think it'd be helpful if we all just kind of do a brief introduction of ourselves. I guess I'll start. I'm Daniel Sanchez. I'm working full time with the lab as a VR developer. I've been working with Steven in the lab when I was an undergrad for 2 years, and this, well, right around now is basically the year anniversary of me being here full time.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Hey guys, I'm Ben. I've been working freelance with the lab for almost a year now. I graduated from ETSU in digital media last year, and I've been working with Unreal for about 5-6 years total now. But yeah.
All right, go ahead, Nautica.
my name is Nautica Harvin. I'm a student fellow, a developer for the lab. I would say I've been here, I think about a semester.
Natalie.
Yeah, I'm Natalie Huggins. I'm also a student fellow for the lab, and I came on, I think, right after Nautica. You might have been there a little bit longer than me with Helena, and we were hired actually under front-end developers, but we've been working with Unreal for the past couple months with Lenovo projects. So.
And then last but not least, Helena.
Yeah, I'm Helena. Basically, Natalie said it all. We were kind of like the same, came in at the same time, doing the same thing. Yeah.
All right, cool. So now we'll just talk about some of the goals of the curriculum. So the point of this class is basically to take students that don't really have much game engine experience or any at all, and basically over the course of a summer or kind of like a period about that long to learn Unreal and get you to the point that you can work on projects in the lab. So a lot of the things that we'll be doing in this class are designed to help students in the future learn. We're kind of trying to make this a resource that the lab will have basically forever, that we can train new people with Unreal by using all the content that we're making this summer. So for you all right now, it'll be a little bit different than someone viewing this with all the content already made at the end. And so one of the things we really want to focus on is like not only learning like the technical side of Unreal, like how to actually use it as a tool, but also like how we can work as a team and be effective developers together. And this is something that like we're obviously, like me and Ben, and this goes for anything, we're not like obviously experts in all of this stuff. So we're going to be also kind of learning with you guys. So we want it to be like very open. If you guys don't like the way something's done or think it can be done better, like please feel free to speak up and say that. And we really want this to also be collaborative between all of us.
Right. So for the topics that we're going to be covering in this curriculum, we're going to be starting with blueprints. And then I guess before blueprints, a bit of an introduction to Unreal, kind of since we're aiming this as for people who, you guys already have some experience working on the Nova projects, but in the future, there may be some students that come in that have no experience or no programming background. So we're going to be starting off with kind of an introduction to a lot of the concepts that we're going to be using inside of Unreal and a lot of the concepts that we're going to be using inside of blueprints, and kind of just getting a general familiarity with the engine. But then we'll be moving into blueprints and kind of the basics of blueprints first, with like level blueprints and the different components and stuff like that. And then we'll be moving on to some more advanced blueprints with macros and stuff like that. And then we'll be moving on to materials, level design, UMG, and animations. Now, right now, we don't have a set order for these next 4 topics, but and I think we'll probably be having it so that you can kind of choose which one you think is most interesting for you to work on. But essentially, all of these different topics will be kind of giving a brief dive into each of them. That way you can kind of understand not just how they work, but why they work, and so that you can utilize them in your own projects moving forward. And UMG is just the UI editor, so you guys should all have a little bit of experience with that already. Next would be plugins and asset migrations, data tables, VR, and then intro to C++.
Yeah, so I think one of the things we really want to focus this time on is learning Unreal as a tool outside of VR, and then learning how you can use Unreal to make VR experiences. I think because the work that we do in the lab is obviously very focused on VR, but we want you guys to be able to like turn on and like if there's a new type of project that can be made in Unreal, understand how to use Unreal to make that. All right, so does anybody have any like things they want to talk about right now before we keep going? Or is it all sounding good so far? Good. All right, so just some like expectations and like what we're expecting for like commitment level this summer. So we want about 20 hours a week on curriculum, our time spent. I think at the beginning we're not going to have that much, so as we go on, like a few weeks out, it'll be probably easier. So don't worry too much about like hitting exactly 20. Like if you finish the stuff that we have for that week, that's fine. But when we get deeper into the course, we expect about that much amount of work each week. And that's why I talked about at the beginning, like this is designed to be done more over the summer, because we realize like when you're full time in school, it's unrealistic to ask for like this much amount of time. So if anyone's watching in the future, you should probably try to do this when you have a larger chunk of time than in the middle of a semester. So another thing is, like I said before, me and Ben are not experts in everything in Unreal. I don't think anyone in the world is. It's too large of a tool. So one of the biggest skills that we think is important is being able to like struggle when you're learning this stuff and understand that like it's okay that you're not going to get it the first time, and some of this stuff is like hard to understand because it's not documented well anywhere. But also have like the willingness to like find answers on your own and go out and like read the documentation or just experiment in the engine and like learn new stuff about it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important for just development and programming in general. I think you kind of need to be able to figure things out on the fly. Like a lot of what we do is a lot of just like problem solving. Like, you know, a lot of times there is no like set tutorial or set way that, you know, of this project you're going to be working on in the future. So you will need to know how to kind of figure out how to get there without intuitively knowing, you know, this where step 1 is. So.
All right. So the next part, we're going to talk about just like some of the structure. So it'll kind of be same. We'll probably do this about week to week, but kind of what you should expect is like the different modules that we talked about for the learning objectives. So for each one, you're going to have some like pre-lesson videos. These are going to be tutorial videos that we find online or that Ben and I make ourselves, and we want you guys to watch them and kind of, you can follow along, but you're not required to follow along and like recreate what's in those. And then we'll do what we're calling like a live training, which will basically be what we all do right now, or what we're doing right now, where we all kind of jump on a Zoom call and do some more interactive stuff. So I think, well, okay, I'll talk about the next part too. So, and then after each live training, we'll give you guys like a small assignment to do. These won't be like large scale projects. They'll be pretty easy, and you should work on them, I guess, like individually, but they won't be too hard. And then so back to like the live training, like what you could expect from that. What we want to do is at the very beginning kind of do a code review of somebody's assignments. So we won't just throw you like without notice. Like, well, okay, I should explain. For the assignments for every person, it's not going to be like a grade. You're going to submit it to GitHub, and then one of us will look at it and do a code review, and we'll talk with you and send you notes and stuff. And then in the next week's live training, we're going to always start with somebody explaining how they finished the assignment before and just kind of talk through their reasoning and ideas. And then after that part, for the live training, we'll get into like that week's lesson. We'll ask if you have questions, expand on parts that we thought weren't covered quite well in the tutorials or needed more coverage, and then go to more advanced topics with each module. So yeah, so the assignments are not graded, and these will be hosted on GitHub. So it'll be literally like each one will have a Git repo that you pull down, and then when you're finished with it, you'll tag your branch, and that'll trigger something to let us know that you have finished it. And we'll go over all of this stuff like next week, how to actually do that and pull it and tag it and work with the stuff that we're building. Yeah, so I guess whenever like there'll obviously be times when you need more one-on-one help, or we want to like do something like your code review, and we're going to try to record as much of that as possible and upload it to YouTube for like people in the future to see. So whenever you need stuff on the course, you should look at this main GitHub page. I'll add it to the Slack channel and pin it. But it's basically, can you guys see the GitHub page, or is it still on the other screen?
You can see it.
Okay. So, I mean, it's nothing complicated. It's just like literally like a README. So right now it has some general resources, and so it'll have like different parts for each lesson. So for like lesson 0, I had some stuff about Git, but you guys can watch that before the next lecture too. And so this will be updated periodically as we add content and add lessons. And an easy way I've set it up, if you guys saw it in Slack, I have a bot. So every time we push a commit with like new stuff that you guys need to look at, they'll send a message in the Slack channel. Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about like the structure or comments? No? Okay.
Okay, so resources. This kind of goes back to what I was saying a little bit before, where you are going to need to kind of do stuff on your own time, and we are kind of expecting you to take 20 hours of your week to kind of try to figure things out. And there's going to be a lot of resources that are out there to help you do this. We're not going to leave you completely blind. First and foremost, there on that GitHub page that he was talking about before, there are some resources. There's tons of tutorials on YouTube. There is a series on YouTube called WTF is, and this is really useful for blueprints specifically. This guy, Matthew Weidstein, makes a video on essentially every single blueprint node in Engine, where if you're kind of just messing around with the different nodes and trying to figure out what some of them are, and some of the tooltips may not be very explanatory or intuitive, but you can use this channel to kind of go through all of those different nodes and kind of figure out what they do. The Unreal Engine YouTube channel, which is the official one, they do live streams every week that kind of dive into some of the more, usually some of their new cutting edge technology. But they do have a lot of old school tutorials over the years of different various, everything you can find in the engine. And then of course there's the Unreal Wiki. They have moved it from the original wiki to a community run one. But then there's also the Unreal documentation. And then if you can't find specific things online, you can always, just reach out to us through Slack or email. We'd be happy to help. You just jump in a call or something. But this is one of the things that I had asked you guys before when I was working with you on the Lenovo projects was if you have a problem and you're kind of struggling to figure out what it is and you need some help, help us help you by like showing like screenshots or like making a video of what you think the problem is and like where you think it's occurring. Because it really makes diagnosing what the actual problem is and like figuring out how to help you guys fix it a lot easier.
Okay, so this won't apply as much to you guys since you all still have the laptops, right? Okay, I'll just go through this quick. Just some stuff. Make sure you have Unreal 4.22 on the computer. You should all probably have that. You're going to need a GitHub account to access all the material. Epic Games account, not like your personal one if you don't want to see you playing Fortnite on there. And then this doesn't apply to you since it's already done, but in the future, if someone needs to set up a desktop, we have a GitHub page on how to download all the software needed for to set up a computer to do this development. And so I guess that's about most of the stuff we have. Just for us to kind of get an understanding of where you guys are at, just like what do you guys feel most comfortable with Unreal and like the parts that you don't feel comfortable with?
You want to start with Nautica?
So I don't know. I feel pretty comfortable with Unreal as far as like everything we've used up until this point. I don't really know like exactly what to say, but I feel pretty comfortable with it though. Like as far as moving around and knowing everything goes, I feel pretty comfortable with it.
Okay, Natalie?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say comfortable, but I think that I learned a lot, just speaking for myself, from the last like little mini project. And I definitely did have moments where I would struggle through things and then like call Ben and like talk with him through it. So if it's like 100% comfortable, like you guys are 100% and I'm like 21%.
No, that's good though. Okay, Helena?
If you guys are 100%, I feel like I'm probably maybe like 6%. Comfortable would not be the word I would use personally. That's just me though. Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Fine, yeah.
I wouldn't. You can go ahead.
No, I was
A
gonna
big thing. You can go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I wouldn't. Okay, so comfortable probably isn't the right word. I'm not really comfortable, but I feel like I'm in a good position to learn.
yeah, I would agree with that. Like, moving around the
Yeah.
engine now is like more comfortable since we've had like that couple months of like working with it. I would agree with Nautica.
Right. So like this question is like the reason that it seems kind of weird to ask, right? But we're kind of trying to figure out like where you guys currently are and like trying to get a feel for how comfortable you are and then like how fast we need to take like the beginning lectures. Like if you need us to go slower or faster at some of the beginning one where we're talking about the intro and the basics, just let us know. It's okay to be at a different pace than someone else. Like a lot of this stuff, it just takes time and it just takes practice. And sometimes you can kind of leverage like, previous programming background. Some of you may not have previous programming background, and that's totally fine. And that's what this course is designed for, to take all of you and make you at the end of the semester, fully competent and ready to just, jump into any project. Specifically the Lenovo projects are going to be finished by the end of this course. But yeah, if when we're starting on the intro lessons, if you feel like you guys are all just like, really don't need the extra help and you're flying off the cuff, that's totally fine. Just tell us to speed up, hey, we get it, move on. Or if something is just like too complex, like do not be afraid to like be like, hey, slow down, like explain this a little better. I need some more help because we're happy to help.
Cool. All right. So now, do you guys have any like questions or comments about what we've talked about so far?
I have a question. As far as like you said, the meetings kind of like this, are they going to be weekly?
Yeah, we can talk about that, I guess, after I stop recording so that people don't need to see that. But yeah, we'll set up like a weekly time.
Okay.
Yeah, there may be some weeks where the day may have to change, the time may have to change just to like accommodate everyone's schedule, but we'll try to keep it pretty consistent. There also may be some days or some weeks when we get onto some of the later, more complex weeks where you may need a week or two to continue working on, you know, some of the more complex topics, and that's fine. You know, some of these very intro topics will, you know, you can bang out some of these assignments and these like tutorials pretty quickly, and that's fine. We'll kind of just take it by the week.
All right, well, I think that is what we have. So I will stop the recording.